over the pen tool, let's go over the shapes tool. Let's go ahead and open up Illustrator. Go to File, New. Let's open up a play environment. Let's just do a 1000 by 1000 pixel document. Okay, so here's our square artboard. So let's go ahead and start playing. So right here is the Shapes tool. It's default on the rectangle tool, but if you press and hold, you'll have a wide variety of different options. So let's go ahead and stick with the default rectangle tool and see what we can create. So go ahead and press and keep holding that button, and you should be able to create a wide variety of objects. So we can do a little, let's do a very long rectangle, a square, and so you see kind of there's an outline here, and it looks like a transparent, clear inside. Well, let's change that. So what we could do is let's select this box, and down here is the fill tool, and this is the stroke. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the inside. The fill is the inside color. Let's make that a bright color, and you'll notice it still has this stroke on the outside. Let's go ahead and eliminate that. So we just press here on the stroke, and we're going to press none. It's going to clear out the stroke. So now all we're left with is just the fill. So now we can create solid shapes from here on out. Okay, so we can create all sorts of different things, and that's the square tool. So now if we move over and press on the ellipse tool, you can make eggs, ovals, circles. So I want to make a perfect circle. I want it to be perfectly balanced. So a trick on this to make a perfectly symmetrical shape is to hold down the Shift key, press and hold your mouse and drag, and you can create perfect shapes. And you can do that with any of these options. So if I wanted to create the perfect square, let's go ahead and eliminate all this. You can press Shift and then press on your key and hold it, and you can create perfect squares. Let's go ahead and there's also stars, which I rarely use, but I guess every once in a while a design can call for a star. There's a polygon, which I rarely use. I use the rounded rectangle tool a lot. What's great about this shape, let's go ahead and make one. Go ahead and make it perfect. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag and make a perfect square. So the great thing about the rounded tool is this is kind of big in design where you have that nice rounded bevel on the edge. You don't have the sharp edge. So that's nice. Let's say I want to increase that and make it more dramatic. I'm going to press on the object, and I'm going to go up top here and go ahead and select corner type. I'm going to keep it on round. And you're going to increase and lower the pixel sizes. So let's go ahead and increase it, and you notice it getting a little bit more dramatic. Just like that. So you can create a lot of web buttons this way as well. You can also do 0 pixels and go back to the right angle. So that's the square tool. Let's go ahead and create a wide variety of squares, and we can show how we can easily align them. So let's go ahead and create a couple of perfect squares here, just one after the other. And a great kind of trick, if you want to have the same exact square size, is you can copy it. So if you press the Command C and then a new area, press Command V, you can create the same shape. So let's go ahead and do that and line these up. So let's say, okay, they're off center a little bit. I want these to be perfectly aligned. So what you're going to do is go ahead and select all the shapes, and you go up top and you're going to see the Align tool. And if you do not see it on the top, you can go to Window and press on the Align option, and you should be able to see it. So since I already have it on the top of my screen in my particular layout, I'm going to use it up top. So let's select them all, and if you want to align them all to the center, and this is going to take some time to kind of memorize these. A lot of times I just play around until I get the right alignment, but this one's horizontal align center. I'm going to press this, and you notice they all align perfectly on top of each other. But there's still some kind of odd spaces here between the blocks. How do I make that the same spacing? Let's go ahead and select all 4 of the blocks, and we're going to go down to this vertical distribute center, and now they're perfectly distributed in between the boxes. So we're going to go ahead and eliminate that, And that's going to be playing around a lot because there's, as you saw, there's probably, 9 different align. I could probably do a separate video on the align tool to kind of show you a wide variety of alignment. That's a great way to kind of do logos that has complex shapes involved. So let's see, what else can we do? So let's go ahead and do the ellipse tool, which is basically your circle tool. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag and create a circle. So as with the pen tool, when we do this direct selection tool, you're going to notice this perfect circle is made of 4 different points or anchors. So that's how it's really hard to create it manually with the pen tool. So that's why they provide you with the shape tools to kind of cheat and do a perfect circle quicker. But with the same thing as we did with the shapes and the pen tool, let's go ahead and click here. You can actually manipulate these shapes as well. So you can make half moon. So you can take any of these pre-made perfect shapes and create whatever you want. And let's go ahead and make a circle. Let's make a square. And let's make them different colors. Let's go ahead and highlight this square and let's change that to a different color. So you can just kind of slide up on this color object. And let's make it bright green. And let's say I want to make another green one. I already have one, so let's select it, Command copy, and then Command paste. And I want this circle, so let's Command copy and Command paste. And repeat. And if I want to do just a stroke, I'm going to select this object. And I'm going to do this little arrow here. It says swap fill and stroke. And I'm going to swap this out. So now all of a sudden, this is on transparent or none, and then now my fill is now my stroke. So now I have the object with nothing in the center and just the lines on the stroke. So I want to increase the size of that. So how do I do that? I go over here to my stroke option. Once again, if you can't find any of these, go to Window, and they're all there. You may have a different layout than I do, but I have stroke right here. Click on it again. Stroke pops up. So now that I'm a stroke, I'm going to increase the weight of that stroke as much as I want, so I can make it thick or very thin. So you can kind of see that's a transparent center, as you can see. Let me put this in the front of my document. So let's make this a different color. Let's make this red. So as you can see, let's go ahead and eliminate these two. When I put this red square over the green, you'll notice it overlaps it. And when I take this green square and move it down, it's behind the red square. So there's different layers. Each shape is going to be on top that you create. It's going to be a different layer. And so how do I make this light green? Or let's make that a different color. How do I make this pink square behind the green shape? Well, an easy way to do that is to right-click, arrange, and send it back. And it'll actually change the layer that it's in. And I could do the red square. Let's say I want this in the very, very back. Let's drag. Right now it's in the very front. So I'm going to right-click, arrange, and I'm going to send it back. You can see how all these shapes have different layers. You can move them in and out. And there's actually kind of a little shortcut cheat. Instead of having to right-click every time and move it either back or forward, you can highlight the shape. You can hold down Command, and you can actually do it on the keyboard very easily by using let's see, this. Press this key. So you can hold Shift and press this key on your keyboard, and that is how I'm shifting. So I guess the bracket button. So I can select the tool, hold down Command, and move it around. So that's how we can play around with layers and different object shapes. So you can kind of create different logos with that yellow. Get the same spacing. And let's say I want to move a whole group of shapes. So I click on this one and it moves by itself, which is fine, but I want to move this whole unit together and resize it. So we need to group all of these different shapes together, or objects. So we're going to go ahead and highlight all. We're going to right click and we're going to group them together. And when you group an object, it's frozen together, so you can shift around this object. So that means I can take this object, I could hold down Shift, click, and I can drag it and make it really tiny. All at the same time, instead of having to make each individual shape smaller, I can do it as one unit. This is incredibly helpful. I use this all the time in design. And if I want to ungroup something, I right-click and ungroup it. So you'll notice your right-click button has a lot of key tools in it. So you have your, you can highlight your object, you can group it. You can also arrange and do the different layers. So play around. This is going to be, I know I just covered a ton of stuff, so it's going to take some time, maybe spend 10 to 20 minutes on each one of those, layering, moving boxes forward and backwards, and also practice grouping objects together. And you'll be able to feel more comfortable and ready for the next series of videos when we talk about typography and some other more advanced things. So let me just kind of mess around a little bit more. I'll show you. You can see I'm just copying, I'm doing Command-C, Command-V, and you get to see kind of a wide variety of stuff you can do. Okay, that's it for now.